Hi Bhavya, welcome. Hi Bharat. Hi Jyotsna. Hi everybody. Happy Saturday, happy weekend. ఇన్ని వీకెండ్లు అయిపోతున్నాయో ఇంట్లో కూర్చుని మా మమ్మీ ఈరోజు అంటున్నది సాటర్డే అయితే ఇంట్లో ఉండవు నువ్వు ఇప్పుడు చూడు ఎవ్రీ సాటర్డే యువర్ ఎట్ హోమ్ అని అలా అయిపోయింది నా లైఫ్ our lives for the next few years బస్ లో ఎన్ని రోజులో let's see. I have a very, very special guest today. I'm sure you're all going to love her. And what an incredible human being she is. Let me call her and make sure she's there. Mahi, if you're seeing me, can you just send me a message saying, hi, I'm here, baby, so I can add you? Yes, it's a very, very special life. Just hang in there. Can you send me a message saying I'm here? Yeah. Or I can... You're the first viewer and I'm not replying to you, Divya. Don't get upset, baby. I hate it that it takes so long. Good morning. Oh, I'm here. Don't fear. Vijay Ramaraju Mantina. Your company, Andy. Oh, she's one of my favorite people in the entire world. So I'm so excited. Asalu. Oh, I just saw you, Trishanya. Hang on. There, we are here. Go live. I got you. I see you, Mahi. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. It's just taking a second. You're stuck. So I hope the video comes back on.
Yes.
What a beautiful wallpaper. I love your whole setup.
Thank you.
Did you have breakfast?
No, I'll eat at 1.
Are you on intermittent?
Yep.
Wow. Now, Allah kaatలేదు mahi intermittent చేయడానికి పొద్దునే I wake up hungry, you know.
I think after 3-4 days the body gets used to it. And right now it's so hot outside anyway, so it's fine.
Oh, Vishnu's here. Hi, Vishnu. I see quite a few of our friends saying hello to us on this live. Why are you stuck?
I don't know. It seems stuck. Hang on, I'll check.
Thank you, Deepthi. We're doing the best we can in this imperfectly perfect time.
Come back?
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
So there was some delay in this beautiful quarantine times where we have to deal with technology. So hang in there, guys. We're going to start speaking about, are we getting a virus? A vaccine. And if we are, when are we getting it? What are the timelines? Because ఏ రోజు TV petna, there's a new news about this is working, that is working. There are different strains of this virus. So I have a lot of questions because not all of us are going to get these answers, Telsa. Newspaper lo balu kawalan rasindi. Just from the horse's mouth antar chudu. So I wanted to bring Mahima, so we can all understand what's going on around us and what it is, what it takes them to really create a vaccine and how long it takes to get one. Yeah, we're all getting a virus. We're getting it or not is not the question. We're all getting it, but how strong are we when we get it is. I see you, Trishanya. Go live again. శివప్రసాద్ ఒక సెక్షన్ లో రిప్లై నేను లైవ్ చేస్తూ మీకు రిప్లై ఎలా ఇవ్వను నేను ఓకే there you go better
Much better. Can you see
oh
me now?
yes I can as beautiful as ever. First of all, Mahi, thank you so much. I know you're so camera shy and you did not want to do this, but I'm so proud of myself. I was able to get Shashi Tharoor and Kishan Reddy Garu easier than I got you. But
No.
today I'm super proud because I thought this conversation is so important now more than ever, and to speak to you and understand what it is that we are dealing with in a practical way. Because every day, oh, somebody says proud to be a part of biologically family. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to turn off the comments because I'll get distracted. Um, I'm. I think I have enough questions that they want to ask you. And as I said, it's a very, very important dialogue we need to have because every time we look online, because we're so obsessed with social media right now, or when we look at our newspapers, every day is new news, right? And I thought, why not bring on you, who's actively working on creating a vaccine for COVID? How does it feel that you're just right there to save the world and you're in the forefront of it?
Oh, no pressure at all. It seems like just another day at work, It's no pressure whatsoever. No, but jokes aside, it's been incredibly busy for everybody involved. So many stakeholders across the world are involved. So, from morning to night, it's, everybody constantly on calls because, you really can't meet and get any of this stuff done. Trying to organize logistics, getting materials here, organizing labs, and thinking ahead and trying to compress what would normally take 5 to 7 years to develop into 12 months and 18 months is not easy. But there's literally an
Mahi,
army of people working on
చాలా
it.
మందికి నువ్వు ఎవరో తెలీదు నా ఫ్యాన్స్ కి నువ్వు తెలిసిన వాళ్ళు ఇండియాలో నువ్వు తెలియని వాళ్ళు లేరు బట్ వి mortals film goers that we are always entertainment based. So you you're the MD of a company that's called Biological E, and you create vaccines. You export your vaccines to over 80 countries, 80 countries. Is that right?
Now it's about 120 countries.
Oh my God. How proud are we of you, Mahi? Really. I'll come to the next question right away. How many women are in your position in the world?
Very
See,
few.
you had to
Very
think. I love that. I love that.
No, very few. But I've been lucky that in the vaccine space, there've actually been two women running big vaccine companies. At least in the past, Merck used to be run by a woman. Their vaccines no longer. Pfizer's vaccines is run by a woman, Susan Silverman. So at least given how small this universe is, it's incredible to see such powerful women. But generally, not many.
Wow. Is it true that 1 out of 2 kids in India would have had your vaccine?
Correct. That's true.
So నా కూతురికి నీ వ్యాక్సిన్ ఇచ్చుంటానా డబ్బులు కట్టానా నేను దానికి నీ దగ్గరకు వచ్చి No, tell me what is the vaccine that you create? Because you've also partnered with India, not now, but from the inception of when the natural immunization started for India, and you partnered with the government to make sure all of India is immunized with the vaccines that you create. So tell us a little bit about that, and what does your company do, and how are you reaching out to so many places? I'm asking a lot of questions because I know you'll answer all of them in one shot. And what are these vaccines? And I know you make them very, very affordable to countries that cannot reach it. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so basically we've been supplying vaccines since 1978 when the government started mass immunizations in the country. And the essential vaccines, how we started off was to make tetanus toxoid. And most mothers know this as triple vaccine. It's based out of 3 vaccines: diphtheria, pertussis, known as whooping cough, and tetanus. So much of the 70s and 80s, those were the three vaccines. In addition, the government would give you BCG, polio, and measles. But what we did is, at the turn of the century, we tried to combine two additional vaccines, hepatitis B and H influenza type B, into the triple vaccine. So that became
Oh,
the 5-valent or the pentavalent vaccine. And that's really our flagship product. So in one shot, you're able to protect kids against 5 diseases. In addition to that, we just launched measles as well. So literally, over 70% of the basic vaccines that the government gives, we make ourselves. And one of the advantages is that we grew with the population of the country or the birth cohort. Now there's like 27 million children being born. And typically you give kids 3 doses of vaccine, and if you account for wastages and things like that. So we're always thinking about, 100 million doses, making 200 million doses of vaccine. So if you need 100 million for India, you at least need 100 million for the rest of the world. So what it's given us the ability to do is invest in very large scale infrastructure.
I'm going to stop you in 1 second just so it reiterates what you just said. 100 million doses. And I hear that when you export, your vaccines go out at least a couple of million every year that you distribute around the world.
Oh no, it's hundreds of millions every year that we distribute around the world. So
Wow.
in the past 5 years, we would probably have supplied close to 2 billion doses of vaccine.
2 billion with the B.
Yeah, it would be. Not dollars, doses, but yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, continue.
Because we make them in such large quantities and such large scale, then you have economies of scale, and that helps you make the product very cost effective. And that allows us to therefore go to countries and countries who can afford them, explain to them that this would be a very cost effective solution, and more often than not, then they switch and they introduce this vaccine. In vaccine, for example, we had a partnership with the Gates Foundation that gave us the ability to offer amongst the lowest prices for H influenza vaccine. And as a result of that partnership, there's no country left on this earth that has not introduced it. So I feel incredibly proud about
You gave me
our
goosebumps, baby. So, for people who don't know much, I've known Mahima since we were 13 years old. She's my oldest friend in Hyderabad. So, in Hyderabad, Chennai nunchi shift outunnanu. We live 20s. So, Hyderabad వచ్చేటప్పుడు నువ్వే కాలేజ్కి వెళ్తావు, నేను అక్కడికి వస్తాను, నాకేం తెలియదు కాబట్టి. She went to St. Anne's, నేను వెళ్ళి అక్కడ పడ్డాను. That was a big jail only for me. No other reason. Not that it was a good school or college. Mahima goes there, I want to go there. And that was my only reason of going to St. Anne's. But since then, the one thing about you, Mahi, I had no idea what you did, or we never spoke about that, right? I was in America, you were doing your thing. No, ఒకసారి LA కి వచ్చినప్పుడు షాపింగ్కి వెళ్ళాం అంతే, and we talked about restaurants. But after I moved back to India, to see how resilient you are and how soft you are. If I was in your place and the power and the position that I'm on, I would have had not 2 but 4 horns on my head, I think. Just in
It's
terms
soft.
of no, really, to be able to be a world impactor in health is not no small joke. The one live that I'm doing today, and I did all this to pull you here, maybe a few thousand people, maybe a lakh of people will watch this and get affected, okay, and learn something and move something positively. But to be such a game changer and be able to give these vaccines out in 120 countries now, and to have that zen like, and you don't even meditate, woman. I don't know how this happens.
I started. I'm doing a lot
You
of
did,
yoga
you did,
these
you
days.
did, you did. But where do you get that composure from? Where in the littlest of things, in times like this, when it's like they're saying stay at home, they're not asking us to come out of our houses and fight a war, and people are going mad. They're not able to stay at home. They're going through a lot of psychological problems, and in our little lives, right? I call all our lives little compared to yours, for the pressure that you take. How do you handle that?
Do I look composed? This is
You
just game
do.
face.
That's
Okay.
just the
I
game
should
face.
practice my game face more. No, but to be fair, I think, you just have to take a step back, and whether it's in my personal life.
Uh-oh, you're stuck. Ooh. Mahi, I don't know if you can hear me, but you're stuck. The thing is loading. Maybe your Wi-Fi connection. Ah, she left. We'll get her back. So in the meantime, let me look at comments. Turn on commenting. Eagle baboy, eagles. Chakari andamto. Lachakka, namaste, namaste. Tushanya, I'm trying to find you again to go back and ask you. It's connecting again.
Okay, I'm back.
Yay! I had a mini heart attack, but I had my game face on. I was like, ah.
So I don't know how much of that you got, but I was just saying gratitude is what keeps everything in perspective.
You have to take a step back, is where we got disconnected.
Yeah, just I was saying that you have to take a step back and think about everything you have to be grateful for, everything you have
Mm.
going, and just know that, believe that, people will come and help you. You'll find that solution. Just take it one step at a time and not try to overwhelm yourself with the end solution. Just think about, what am I going to do tomorrow that's going to help me progress? What am I going to do next week? Who do I need to help me progress? And yeah,
Who
just
do I
take
need? Do you ask for help? Because people asking for help, they think that it's not so cool.
To be honest with you, on the personal side, I find it very difficult. But when it comes to work, it comes absolutely easily to me. I ask for help all the time. And
Yeah, for me too.
there's so much scientific expertise out there. No one understands what capabilities you're looking for. So if you don't ask, there's the saying, kada, amma kuda annam pettadu.
అడగకపోతే అమ్మ కూడా అన్నం పెట్టదు అని. మా ఇంట్లో మనోజ్ మార్చాడు, ఆమ్లెట్ కూడా పెట్టదని. అడగకపోతే. But that's so true. Even when I did Mem Saitam, before, personally, I feel very, very, how can I ask that? But with Mem Saitam, I didn't leave anybody. I called you. I remember when I was launching the show, you were like, any vaccine you need, whatever you need. See that, and that makes us reach to people because you know how what good it's doing for the world around us. The WHO recently announced that it's in contact with companies around the world that's working with the vaccine for COVID-19. Have they reached out to you, and what kind of support are you getting from them?
Yes, so first, yes, they have reached out to us. We were on a call with WHO, as were other companies, to explain the approach to the candidate, to also engage with them to see what their requirements are going to be as we look to deploy the vaccine, look at what the programmatic considerations are, because these vaccines have to go to remote parts of India, Asia, Africa, and those places have their own logistical limitations. So we're engaged with WHO on that. WHO is also conducting what they call a solidarity study. So it's this huge clinical trial, and different vaccine candidates, you can approach them, they can put you in the trial, and that will give you access to clinical trial sites, not just in your country, but other countries as well. We haven't decided if we use that approach or just go at it solo, just because we can control the timelines, we can control support things much more if you're not part of the larger. But for certain things, especially certain therapeutic drugs that they're evaluating, this kind of solidarity does make sense. So, short answer, yes, we're in touch with WHO, and we keep having, dialogue with Denise.
That goes into my next question. I had a recent conversation with Kishan Reddy Garu, who is heading the war room, and he's the union minister for our country. And he mentioned that the government is also supporting all the companies that are working to develop the vaccine. And what kind of support are you getting from the government, which was, everybody says it's pulling teeth when working with the government of India. I can say whatever I want because I'm not any government affiliated, so I can say what I hear. But how has it been? Has Indian government really giving you the support, and our Telangana government?
So they're giving us a lot of moral support. I'll start with that. Okay. But we're in discussions for financial support as well. The Department of Biotechnology has a call for proposal, not just for vaccines, but for drugs, diagnostics, and some other therapeutic interventions. So we are in dialogue with them. I'm not at liberty to disclose, but our current development is well funded by stakeholders outside the country. Actually, I can say it is the Gates Foundation. But so we're supported by them for the initial development, but we are in dialogue with the government to see if it provides support for scale up, and most importantly, you know in vaccines it takes a really long time to make the vaccine. So our biggest discussion with the government is, when do you start making the vaccine? When do you start stockpiling the vaccine? And you can't wait till you know everything about the vaccine to do that, because we license the vaccine and wait 5 months to actually get it. So that doesn't make any sense. So when is the time to start at this manufacturing of the vaccine, and how can the government support us in making that happen? Now, financial support aside, I have to say the government has been incredibly great about regulatory issues, which is one of the most challenging aspects of product development in our business. And I was joking. I can't tell you how much time of my life I've spent in Delhi, going pillar to post, chasing officers, saying, "Sir, please, we need this," and the situation is reversed now. I literally get a call on a daily basis. What do you need? What license do you need? This is really great, and I wish it worked this way for everything other than COVID as well. Our regulatory teams would be extremely happy. But there's that level of engagement, and sometimes too much. Sometimes I'm required to give an update on a daily basis, and that gets a bit tricky because nothing in vaccines changes on a daily basis, right? If you're talking about several months. So, yeah, but we're learning to manage that, and it's okay. It's just.
And what you just said it in a passing, saying Gates Foundation. Bill Gates Foundation double istundaniki ippudu.
They have extended their support, but we've partnered with the Gates Foundation since 2013. So they've not.
He came to your. Didn't Gates come to your to your place to biologically office in 2013?
Yes, he did. He was extremely kind. So my dad, when he was alive, the deal that we signed with the foundation to make hip vaccine available, it was during when Dad was here, and it was really great of them. They said, we had a request that we'd like to meet, and he said, "I'm going to come and meet your family," and it was incredibly sad because a few months later, Dad passed away, and I just assumed that he's no longer here and he wouldn't come, but he came and he met with the whole family. And most importantly, we met with my niece and nephews, and I think it's only then that they started taking us a little bit seriously.
Wow, saying that if Bill Gates coming to you, he must be important to
Very
me.
grateful to him for sealing this within our family, that what we do is actually important, and we're not, we might know what we're doing. So.
Wow, that's important, and that's special because very often our families, we have different ideas and thoughts about what we want to do with our life, but we forget what has been made and built for us, especially you and me. We are so grateful for our families to have built something. My dad's still fighting with me for me to take care of a part of the school, and I'm like, can you know, I don't want to do it, But then I see the impact every year when students graduate and come back to my dad and say, if it wasn't for you, I couldn't have. And thank you for helping me in this way or that way. I'm like, peace out, dude. That's amazing. I don't know if I can be as good as you are, but it's incredible how you taken the torch of your dad, which is no small feat, and he didn't leave you on little bar to, he kept the bar really high. And I hate saying it in a sentence, but it is what it is. Being a woman from Telugu, South Indian, out of all that from a Raju family, because you're so introvert to come up and build this and continue to make it. You could have taken it over and the company could have folded, right, in a few years if you didn't know how to handle it. It won't.
Absolutely.
It'll only keep getting better. I'm saying it because I have the freedom to. But you kept it afloat and took risks even after uncle passing, and scaled biological E to another level altogether. How does that impact on you? Because you have your sisters, you're the youngest of the six sisters, and for you to take those risks, because I'm sure you were spoiled when you were spoiled by your dad. I saw that.
Yeah.
So for you to take those kinds of responsibilities and win, how does that make you feel?
Oh gosh, I don't know. To be honest, a lot of it I just have to attribute to dad because he kind of got me used to, the fact that he just empowered me, let me make mistakes,
Wow.
make decisions. We
No, he didn't
borrowed.
say మా ఇంట్లో అమ్మాయిలు బయటికి రారు ఇంట్లో కూర్చో ఇదేంటిది నేను
No,
let's find a man to do this.
no,
I say it
neither
out
him.
loud because I want to hear your answer.
No, neither him nor my mom. They were wonderful parents in that respect. And, my grandmother was one of the first graduates in the whole state. So, I come from a family where my grandparents, my parents were extremely educated. They had expectations of people to go out there and contribute. So they'd always say that, we don't care what you do. You're lucky, you're healthy, you have choices, you have privilege, but make sure whatever you do, you contribute. So I don't think any of them groomed us to be in the business. They didn't, force certain choices on us. But once I was in the business, my dad completely empowered me. He gave me
Wow.
so much. We borrowed incredible amounts of money when he was around. It was a huge risk to the business, to the family. But he was fine. And to their credit, they didn't let us feel the difference between men and women. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I don't have brothers. So that's really great. But it has a lot to do with that. And after that, you said it, my sisters are the wind beneath my wings. In fact, we have to hold ourselves back, me and my brother-in-law, Naren, because they'd be like, you want to do it? You guys know best. Let's go on it. So we're like, no, 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 we need to hold back. So in fact, it's the reverse. They're so trusting and encouraging of the business and to do good. And they want the family name to, just grow for third generation. So it's, yeah. But it feels good because you feel so supported. You forget that it's a responsibility. And to be fair, when you're having fun doing what you're doing, then it makes it.
So you sisters don't fight, all three of you? Nikenduku, nakenduku, what is that, what is not?
So Chinnapuru, Indu and me tried to kill each other. So we kind of got that out of the way, So, and there were physical fights. We would
I'm
hold each
sure.
other down. When my mother had to give us tetanus shots, I'd be like, can I hold her down? And, we were really violent with each other. So I think we got a lot of that out of the way. And now it's just, the things we fight about is, should we eat 3 different things on Sunday or 4 different things on Sunday? But it's usually, that kind of thing.
Oh.
5 minutes away from each other. We see each other every day. One of the biggest blessings in my life.
That's fantastic. It's so important to hear. We hear all the time, especially in people who come from a little bit of money. They're always fearful of how to keep the families together, or what will happen to disrupt them. And it's so important to keep that communication with our family, and especially now more than ever, we know that if there is anything we are doing. Family is the most important. That's all that matters, you know. Um, Thank you for sharing that, because I know that these are things that you have never spoken about your family and things. But that is what my lives are. As much as I'm bringing in incredible people like you, I want the world to see what you are, other than the embryo of biologically me, and being in such stress and with that smile on your face. I'm sure the hundreds of people that are watching right now can take something away from our talk today. So, for a layman, oh my God, you're getting stuck again. If you can hear me, go and come back, Mahi. There you go. Okay, let me get you back. Wait, I'll just send you a request again.
Hi, sorry about that.
You need to get
I,
better Wi-Fi connection in your
yes,
house.
I have a technician around to my niece.
I know. Thank you, Tushanya. Without you, I don't know what this life would have been.
I know what I would do.
I was like, let me talk to them, let me make sure. But yeah, my question was to a layman, to just naku yemi telid, obviously. How does a vaccine work, right? What will it take to do? What will it do to the body and protect us from the virus? So give us that one thing. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఒక vaccine తయారు చేస్తున్నారు, especially COVID. కొంతమంది 6 నెలలు అంటున్నారు, కొంతమంది 18 నెలలు అంటున్నారు. అసలు what does it take to make a vaccine? And can you break down just the timelines for us?
Sure.
And how to live with COVID? Because people, my dad's not letting me get out of the house. I'm like, I won't live like this. After this lockdown is done, I'm going to figure out how to make life work. But I can't sit at home for 2 years and get my immunity even lower.
Yeah. So let me start with the vaccine first. When you get an infectious disease, basically a virus or a bacteria enters your body, and luckily our bodies are, they won't recognize millions of the viruses and bacteria out there. But the ones that do, the ones that affect us, our body's reaction is our immune system kicks in and they create this army of soldiers called antibodies to fight off the virus.
Mm-hmm.
It's this raging battle and then you recover.
I'm sorry,
Now,
Rana keeps calling me. I'll just sorry. It's like three video calls. I'll like call you back. Sorry. Yeah.
So in the case of COVID or some other infectious diseases as well, if your virus load is pretty high, then your body needs time to create this army of antibodies. It takes few days to several weeks. So within that time, the virus can take over, and that's why you see COVID being so infectious, resulting in hospitalizations and worse death. Now, that's what happens in healthy people. But in children, their immune systems are pretty weak. I mean, they get some of this army from their moms when they're born, but that wanes off in a few weeks to a few months. So the idea is that so a vaccine, simplistically put, is we take the bacteria or we take the virus, we weaken it so that it's not so virulent and it's not so dangerous for you. We grow it in very controlled conditions, we purify it, and we literally give you a teeny tiny amount of the virus or the bacteria, allowing your body to do the rest of the work. So when you give a kid a vaccine, you're actually simulating a really controlled virus or bacteria, and then the baby's immune system kicks in, it raises this army, and within a month, or depending vaccine to vaccine, they're protected. So when it comes to coronavirus, the issue is that people are working on several approaches. One is to take the whole virus, weaken it, give it similar approach to traditional vaccines. The other thing and the approach we're using is instead of giving you the virus, we're trying to give you the protein. So the virus secretes a protein, and literally, so corona, not to get too technical, but it's named after the sun, not the beer people. It's the sun. That's what gives it the name. So there's spikes around the virus, and the spikes look like the sun. So the spike protein has a thing called the receptor binding domain. So quite literally what it means is in our bodies, we have cells which have something called ACE2 receptors, right? That's the ACE2. So the receptor binding protein of the coronavirus attaches itself to the ACE2 receptor and enters our body. So one approach that we're using is to prevent, to block this entry. So we're trying to give you not the virus, but the protein. So the hypothesis is that once the protein, once your body generates this army against that protein, it doesn't allow the virus to attach itself to your cell and doesn't enter your cell. That's one approach. The other approach using is traditional viral approaches. There's some in which, it's really cool, the science behind it, and I try to understand it in only the way that I can because I don't have any technical background. But it's great that, you don't give the person the full virus, so there's no actual DNA or RNA of the virus, but they make a virus-like particle, so your body recognizes it like the virus, but it's not dangerous to you, and it still creates army. So there's different approaches. And the reason it takes so long is essentially once you grow these viruses or bacteria, you need to make sure they're incredibly safe and that they're effective. Obviously, like proteins are considered safe, but are they equally effective? Viruses are very effective because your body recognizes the virus already, but are they safe? So we do a battery of tests. We start with what we call animal studies or preclinical studies. Extensive studies, either mice, monkeys, sorry for the animal lovers out there, but if there was a better way, we would look at a better way. And then you move on to healthy people, and then you test that it's safe in healthy people, then you move on to toddlers, and then you move on to children. As moms around the world, you can appreciate that you're giving something to a healthy baby. So really, the bar for safety and how safe it is and how effective it is incredibly high. In order to complete these battery of tests and these investigations, it typically takes between 2 to 7 years. So to try to compress, yeah.
Mame.
No, but because of the current situation, the risk benefit is very different. So the idea is we look at the animal data, and the idea is to go to human studies. Hopefully before the end of this year, we'll go into human studies. I know of other companies who talk about the same thing. But after that, we would go into what you call large-scale studies, right? Which is really to look at the effectiveness. Even if you establish that it's reasonably safe, you need to make sure that it's actually protecting you against corona. And we don't know that. We don't know, is a vaccine going to be 50% effective, is it going to be 80% effective, unless we do these large-scale studies. And the large-scale studies take time. I mean, sometimes you have to recruit thousands of people and evaluate their data. And it's not immediate because you have to give the vaccine and allow the body time for the antibodies to be created. So sometimes this takes a couple of months, at the end of which you take the blood sample of that individual and you check whether it's neutralizing the virus or not. But the other effective way to do this is you give a population the vaccine, and then you have a control group who you don't give the vaccine. And then basically there'll be a point where if you see that the vaccine is effective, then it's unethical, you discontinue, and you kind of get your license then. So this is in a nutshell kind of what we do in vaccine development.
So usually, I'm summarizing what you just said. Any vaccine, to go through all the logistics and to make sure it's entirely safe, because we are giving it to our little babies and making sure they're that good, and you're giving it to a healthy baby. So it has to be extremely, extremely, extremely safe for the child to have that vaccine. That's why they say when you give a vaccine, don't take the kid out for a couple of days because your immunity comes down a little. And you're going again, but hopefully you can hear me. I'll finish this part. So you're saying we are going to look at anywhere. You're saying you'll go into animal testing or by December, and then it'll take a couple more months to do human testing. So by December, you're going to. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. By December, we're going to, well, we hope well before December, we're going to start testing the vaccine in healthy adults just to check for safety.
In humans, you're
In
saying
it's absolutely.
by December.
Yes, and it's to check for safety. It's to make sure, it ticks all the
This is the
boxes that it,
best case scenario. రేపు ఏం చేశారు కదా రేపు ఏదైనా వ్యాక్సిన్ వచ్చి ఇది పనిచేస్తుంది అంటే
to be fair, there's studies in the US by a company called Moderna. There's the Oxford group that's doing large-scale studies in the UK. It remains to be seen if the country feels the risk becomes too high, they may not need you to go through the full evaluation. Having said that, if they give what we call emergency use licensure, EUL, so it's just for emergency use, if they do that, that type of vaccine will only be used for first responders or healthcare workers who's on the front line, who are at extremely high
that's
risk of getting,
absolutely fair. Yeah.
because they're saying that it's the risk of them getting COVID is higher than the safety issues of the vaccine. So they would still, attempt to give them that. But for large scale usage of the vaccine, I think it'll be well into next year before we start to see, kind of widespread availability of any vaccine, even if it's successful, even when it's successful. I've learned not to use negative words.
Let me just take a minute, go cry, and come back. But wow, so you're saying best case scenario, there are other companies working on it, but even if they're given, it's given to the frontline workers, but to be massively available for the 1.3 billion people, you're not going to give a vaccine out unless you're 10,000% sure.
Absolutely.
So
Because it needs to be safe.
that
I mean, you don't want to put, okay, so all of us, right? We're not really at risk in that sense, because if you're, practicing social distancing, personal hygiene, washing hands, staying away from large crowds, you're a healthy adult. The last thing you want to be doing is, experimenting on people during a time like this just because of fear. So there's nothing to be fearful about. 80% of people are asymptomatic. Their symptoms are not very high. But because of that, we have to be even more careful, because we could be walking around not knowing that we are COVID positive, and you could be taking it to your grandparents, to the elderly, to people with diabetes, underlying comorbid conditions, and make things much worse for them. So there's a responsibility here that I think we really need to accept, and that
no,
ought to
but
continue.
that makes us so that makes me happy. I'm glad that to hear you say that I'm not going to give you a vaccine until I'm 10,000% sure. I want you to be 10,000% sure, because it is kind of nervous because, oh, we have something coming, listening to Mr. Trump and listening to, take Lysol and all sorts of things that we are hearing. So and
Please
there are
do
people
not
who
take
will
this.
please don't take Lysol. Please do not use Lysol or inject Lysol or drink Lysol. You will die. Like, don't do that. So, because of fear, we are being fear mongered right now and giving false hopes. And that was the main reason I wanted you to be there to say, yes, we are working on it, but it is going to take the time that it's going to take to bring that vaccine. So, how has so now this is not the only vaccine you're working on. As you said, all the other vaccines that you distribute around the world. How has COVID affected you distributing your other vaccines throughout the world? Because you're working with UNICEF and WHO, and you go to interior countries that have no vaccine available. How has this affected your other business?
So one of the fallouts of COVID is unfortunately this tragedy where routine immunization, for measles, polio, pentavalent, and all of them has taken, either in some countries they've suspended it, or
Oh
in
my
a lot
God.
of countries yeah, in a lot of countries they've slowed it down or delayed immunizations and things like that. And in a sense, you can't blame them because in countries such as India and Africa, immunization is very community driven. So what
Mm.
it means, actually, people, these ASHA workers go to Anganwadis and they literally go door to door to make sure you have the vaccine, or they tell you to come to a particular place where you can get the vaccine. So it's very community driven. So the fear is that then these people might carry the virus and spread the virus or contract the virus by doing this. So in countries where it's immunization is so community driven, they've suspended immunization. I never thought I would see this day, by the way, in my life, because our
Really?
entire lives have been about increase immunization, increase coverage, take it from 60% to 80%. And now just to stand back and look at all the gains that we've made over decades to, get diluted is extremely painful. And the world is bracing itself because whenever this happens, because you've seen it in settings where there's war and there's conflict, where immunization isn't given, then you start to see measles outbreak, and measles is deadly. It's highly contagious. You see polio outbreaks, and then you have to respond like an emergency to control and contain the outbreak before that becomes a bigger
Oh
problem.
my God. Mm.
Estimate right now that there's 115 million children that are missing or at risk and vulnerable for not getting routine vaccines. And I was on a call with UNICEF in the month of April. 70% of shipments that were to happen for deliveries to different countries did not happen because vaccines are
Seven
transported
zero or
in
17?
7-0.
Oh man.
Yeah. And it's because vaccines are transported in cold chain, like 2 to 8 degrees, so you need refrigerated infrastructure. And most of 50% of that were passenger aircrafts, and with all of them being grounded, they've had a nightmare on their hands to get these vaccines across. There's 17, this time 17 countries with stockouts or no vaccines that
Oh my
desperately need
God.
them. So UNICEF has started chartering planes to deliver vaccines. So we're literally in contact on a daily basis to figure out, the skies have opened up over Pakistan. Let's get some deliveries in there. This time it's changed. So it's an extremely fluid situation, and we've had to, everybody's had to be extremely flexible. But the good news is none of these stockouts or, none of this is happening because of lack of vaccine availability. Vaccine companies have not shut down for even a day. Everybody is working incredibly hard to make sure
I know
that
you
at
said you've
least
never worked so hard in your life before.
but we want to make sure that it's,
Yeah.
kids, whenever there's an opportunity, kids get their vaccine because it's incredibly painful to see us taking steps back in all of the development goals we've fought so hard to achieve. But yeah, that's a big fallout with
Wow. Wow. This has been, just doing research on everything that you do has been so eye-opening for me, because I didn't know Hyderabad and was such a pharma capital. India was such a pharma capital, and one third of world vaccinations go out from Hyderabad. I mean, this is just incredible feat. So I'm going to be extra nice to all my friends who make vaccines from now on. I know quite a few of them, but it was like, you're my friend. But I'll be extra nice to all of them now, because there's just so
me
much work
too.
that so much work that goes in. Um, the CEO of Novartis Global said, forget about a vaccine for 2 years. I know the best case we talked about is now till, I don't know, end of December, add a couple more months. So a year. 2 years is a big difference to 1 year, right? But why would he come up with something like that? Because you guys, I know you're not working individually, you're working with all the companies that are trying to make the vaccine, so to help each other. And why would he, a company that big, come out and say something like that?
Well, a couple of things. One, I think he's trying to be realistic and manage expectations. And it's, he's not wrong in the sense it could be 12 months, it could be 2 years. Everybody's working on the assumption that every single thing will go right. But Murphy's Law, something will not work, something will take a setback in terms of timeline. So, it's very hard to say whether it'll be 12 months or 24 months. But the important thing to remember is that, discovering or getting a vaccine to work at lab scale and taking it through clinical is one challenge. The bigger challenge is how do you scale? How do you produce hundreds of millions of doses of vaccine? And most companies are not geared to have that kind of infrastructure because you have to remember they cater to very small birth cohorts. What's the birth cohort of US or Europe? It's really small compared to India, which is 27 million, or China. So at least when we make vaccines, we're constantly thinking hundreds of millions of doses. But the larger companies have not thought about vaccines historically in such large volumes. Added to that, you're going from India would need 100 million doses for children to 1.5 billion doses, potentially times 2, because it could be a 2-dose vaccine. How do you come up with the infrastructure? And the problem is, look at a simple thing. These vaccines go into vials. Where do you have the capacity to fill it? Do you have enough glass? So people have been talking about that there will be shortages of the actual vials in which you fill the vaccine because the tubing and the glass won't be easily available, because you're suddenly talking about, a 100-fold increase in what you need to make, and that's not going to come overnight. Even if you start making the investment, even if you buy 5 filling machines today, it's going to take you 18 months to 2 years before you install them, qualify them, get them approved, put vaccine in there. So it's a pretty daunting task. So even if he says 2 years, by no means in 2 years will the world have a vaccine that's fully sort of, deployed and that you can say, okay, 30, 40% of people have it, just because the numbers are so large. So I think it'll be several years before we see, even if it's 10 vaccines that are successful. And frankly, I really pray that every single vaccine is successful. Every
Yeah.
single company, every single vaccine, I hope it's successful, because we need all the vaccine we can get to be able to address the needs of, the global need currently outside of US and Europe is 7 billion doses. So
Wow.
how are we going to be able to scale to be able to produce that much vaccine? It's got to be, it'll only happen when everyone is successful or majority are successful and are able to scale.
Man, there goes my daughter's school for the next year. I'm not sending her to school for a year.
Hopes, couple of
Ho
kids.
Homeschooling, no, I really mean it, because that's the only, I don't feel safe because she's so close to my parents, and to separate them I'd rather not send her to school for a year or two. There's nothing she's going to miss out on, I feel. We've talked a
Absolutely.
lot about vaccines and taking care of the world and saving the world and the problems. What are your hobbies? How do you chill? There you go. Yeah, here
Okay.
I come.
You know one of them. I love to
Yeah.
cook.
Yes.
So I've been cooking up a storm. I've been sending stuff to friends, and my niece and nephews are my guinea pigs, and they're very sweet. So they keep saying everything's great. But yeah, I've been cooking a lot. And
Is it
then
like a stress buster?
yeah, it always has been. It always
Mm.
has been. Now I just do much more of it than before, but I get very focused, and I love chopping the vegetables. I like doing, except the cleaning up, I love to do everything.
Yeah.
And when I run out of people who are sick of eating my food, I'm like, my staff, I'm like, please, what can I cook for you today, type of thing. So I'm cooking a lot. The other thing is I've started watching these Korean dramas,
I
and
know.
they're I find them, I mean, at least the one I saw, it was lighthearted, it was
Can we
funny,
talk
it was.
about the boy that you're in love with?
I thought we weren't going to talk. Oh, my colleagues are watching, Lakshmi. What are you doing?
It's the truth. She's in love and he's Korean. Here I go. I say it out loud. Asla,
I
అతని
should have,
పేరేంటో
I should
కనుక్కో.
have known. Should have known
Did
what
you
I
find
signed
out
up
what his
for.
real name is other than what's on the series?
Yes,
No.
I did, but it turns out even that's his screen name.
Oh, I had to,
Okay,
Mahi.
so the other hobby, by the way, not hobby, but I don't watch news. I try not to, have the TV on in full circuit. So I get all my news from like Trevor Noah and John Oliver and Stephen Colbert and all these amazing shows. But that's about it. The rest of the time, work is it's all
Work takes over, but at least I'm glad you found something to add up. So no, she's not in love. I had to say that just to pull her leg. She will talk for another 5 hours. నేను కానీ కోవిడ్ గురించి vaccinations గురించి మాట్లాడితే she will disconnect it in 5 seconds if I start talking about boys. I just know Mahi. But here you go. It's amazing. The most eligible bachelorette of India. Like I hope this with my life, you're going to get a lot more love letters coming your way, just for the fun of it. Make sure it comes through me. I check every boy's letter, but
sure.
but really, Mahi, I from the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much for being here today with me and being so candid and open and really speaking your mind out for people to really understand what it is that we are dealing with. Because I'm great in the morning when I'm doing the live. I'll disconnect and I'll be like, okay, what do I do now? Like, you know what I mean? But I've realized Corona can't stop me. Like, I will create work wherever I am. Thank you, thank you. But really, thank you, Mahi, and I hope you, along with all the people who are working for COVID, come that whatever you said, we break all the norms and there's something available as soon as possible, so humanity can go back into living their lives without fear and connect with the community that they've been missing so much now. So I pray that Venkateswara Swami and Jesus and Allah and my Shiva and all my favorite gods and the council and all of them that I look up to give you all the power that you need to sail through this smoothly, my love. And I will call you for my royal pulao very soon.
Thank you. No, thanks so much for making me feel so comfortable. I know you know how difficult this was for me, but
I
thanks for
know.
making
Did you? What did you feel comfortable? Were you okay? You don't want to kill me after this? I can still be your friend.
me.
Okay.
No. I'm starting to think every other thing I look like this, you need to be somehow involved to
What?
smooth things over.
Too smooth.
Every other time I do something like this, you need to somehow be involved. So I've got
Oh,
quite a
I will be
pressure.
there. I will be there. You just have to ask, and I'll be there dropping everything to you, my love. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I'll see you soon. Ta ta.
Bye.
Invincible.